So we are live, and here today we have Coach Pioneer of Lourdes University. Do you want to say a little bit about yourself? Anything you want to share with the audience here before we sort of get into it? Have some back and forth about your Overwatch program, the Overwatch Collegiate scene, all sorts of good stuff like that?
Yeah, of course. And first of all, thanks for having me on. Been kind of watching the streams for a little bit, loving what you're doing over here on the collegiate end for Overwatch. But yeah, so I grew up in Ohio, was a college athlete, ran track and played volleyball in college. I was a part of an acrobatics program, so got the traditional athlete experience in
Nice.
college. Yeah. Um, Ended up getting accepted to grad school at Ohio University. They asked me to do an internship for a year. On my birthday during that year is when Overwatch dropped, and
Ah,
yeah, changed my life. As crazy as it is to say that a video game did, but
a lot less exercise, a lot more sitting in
yeah.
front of it.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit.
Okay.
But that competition's still there. That's the coolest thing to me. I love to compete. I've always loved being a competitor. And it was just another
Nice.
avenue for competition. So that's how I got into it. It was my first real introduction into competitive online gaming. I know I'm a little later than most people, but
Ah,
growing up,
accepts all ages.
yeah, growing up, mom wasn't the biggest fan of video games, so it took me getting to college to kind of be on my own to really explore it. Went to grad school at Ohio University, got an MBA, got a master's in sports administration, and then found my way up in Northwest Ohio, back home, the same area that I'm from,
Very
working
cool.
at Lourdes University. Yep, yeah, so
Nice.
that's my
Nice.
path.
No, that's excellent. So you said that you played some on the way there. Are you an elite Overwatch player, or have you more fallen into that coach director role there? If like if we weren't looking, could you sub in for your team? And if not for the tag, we'd be like, okay, okay,
Absolutely not.
that's fair.
Absolutely not. I do have traditional coaching experience.
Sure.
I've coached track and volleyball at the high school and college level for both of those sports.
Hmm.
So that's what I kind of brought into the program here.
Sure.
But I've just learned so much just within, this is my third year of the program now, just within learning about the game of Overwatch. So I try to mix in a little bit of like that traditional stuff and traditional knowledge of like, the motivating factors. But and by no means am I anybody's top 500 player, and I should not be subbing in for my team. But I like to, still, do what I can to help out on, whether that's watching film, whether that's scouting players, or whether that's just, kind of keeping our mentals in the right mindset whenever we're in matches.
Excellent, excellent. So you said keeping the mentals in the right place, scouting players, and it sounds like you have a sports medicine background, sort of, if I got that right. So do you do any?
Management.
Oh, management, sports management. My
Yep.
apologies, my apologies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I moved a little along there. I was
Okay.
actually just about to get into. Do you do anything like organized, team lifts or organized physical stuff? Do you do much to track? What do you do to sort of track their health, if anything, within your varsity program, your program at all? I know I get a little with my team, so I'm just curious how other coaches do it.
Yeah, so we at my first year here, interestingly enough, I talked to every returning player when I got hired
Sure.
individually, asked them what they wanted to see differently. And a lot of them, not knowing that the other players were saying it, said they wanted a workout program. So first
Nice.
year here, we had mandatory workouts. We've since changed it to be more voluntary now. Last year with COVID and everything, we halted it, but literally yesterday, we brought it back.
Hmm.
It's the way I do it is like, hey, if I'm gonna be in lifting, if you want to come in while I lift, do my lifts, that's cool. If you want to not come in, that's fine. Or, and some people actually take me up on this. I'm like, if you want me to make it mandatory for you and make it that you have to be here, you can sign up for that, and you can sign up with the repercussions of if you don't show up. That it's just like you not showing up for practice. So some players have taken me on that and been
Oh
like, hey, I
wow.
really really want to stay as motivated as possible. I really want to like make sure it's mandatory for me to be here, which I think is kind of cool. But I like to give it like them kind of the choice in how they want it structured. And if they want to just come in and do their own lifts while I'm in there, that's completely fine as well.
Sure. That's like the ultimate level of having a workout buddy. It's like, okay, this is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
workout
yeah,
buddy.
yeah,
Now we're going to level
exactly.
this up to I have real repercussions if I don't go, not just social
Exactly.
ones. Ah, I love
Exactly,
it. I
exactly.
love it. Cool, cool. Okay. So let's move on to you and your team a little bit here. You guys are obviously doing pretty solid here. You're 6-2. We've got a bit of a week off in the program, but how are you
Mhm.
liking about your playoff chances? Have you looked at your opponents that posted yesterday?
I have not. Opponents finally
Oh.
posted. Oh,
Oh,
this is
okay.
gonna
So
okay.
I
Well,
can I
nice.
can pull this up for you, and we
Okay,
have University of Hawaii, Manoa, and Rutgers
okay.
Scarlet Knights as your two opponents.
Ah,
So,
I will.
what do you think there? Do you know anything about him? Do you feel like, oh, we've
Um,
scrimmed these guys, we're comfortable? You don't have to leak everything, but
no, no, no. I think. Did you guys recently? Somebody that I saw recently played Hawaii that I felt like they were comparable to where we're at level wise. The other team that played them,
sure.
and I have to look
Oh,
into that. As far as Rutgers, we've scrimmed. I know Rutgers has like two solidly high level teams.
mm-hmm,
We've scrimmed one of them, and I can't remember which Rutgers that was. Whether it was like their A team or their B team.
mm-hmm.
Because at some point both of those teams were, I think, sitting at 4-2.
Yep,
So I can't. I think if it's the Rutgers Scarlet Knight, I'm going to assume like that's their primary team
it,
because they're
it
going to
is.
use
The
like
other
the
one is the
official. Okay,
Squires, and Squires
okay,
are,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe we've scrimmed them once,
Okay.
and it was pretty close. So I'm pretty excited to see how that match will go against them then.
Okay, okay. And then it looks like,
But I mean, kind of going
oh,
forward, I guess from that. And I think I might have lost audio from
oh,
you. Let
my
me get. Hold
apologies.
up. Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me
You're.
now?
I see you lighting up in Discord,
Oh,
but the audio
that's
is not working. Give me a
one more
second
time.
here. There we go. There we go. Now I
Oh,
got you.
you can hear me now? Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
We're good now.
Chat, let us know if you're struggling. I could hear Pioneer the whole time here, so I think that was just on his end. But okay, we're good to
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and so so you've had a scrim against the Scarlet Knights, so you just sort of know what you're up against there, and
Actually,
then
give me a sec. Give me a second. It keeps going in and out. I apologize. Hold on
okay.
here.
Chat, if you guys have questions for me, him, anyone, anything of the sort, you can, of course, throw those up there while we're filling a little bit of airtime here for him to resolve audio issues, which is unusual because usually it would be me resolving audio issues.
Okay.
Oh,
I
oh,
I
you.
think I am good now.
Okay, sound a little different, but we can hear you, so it is all good. Perfect,
All right,
perfect.
cool, cool, cool.
Okay, so we
Uh,
were talking about your upcoming games. Go ahead.
yeah, so like I said, we scrimmed the Rutgers team, went pretty close. Hawaii, no info except for knowing that they played somebody recently, and of course, I'm gonna go back and see how that went. But
Okay.
um, pretty to be pretty cool. I mean, the whole West Coast Sping should be pretty interesting to deal with that. But we'll be like that. We handle it the best we can. And so, but no, this is my first time hearing who we had coming up, and so pretty excited. I think we have a solid chance, of finishing out strong.
Okay.
Ideally, of course, we want to go 8-2, staying out of the 7-3 range, so we don't have to worry about tiebreakers and everything. But I think, I mean, we have some good solid tiebreakers.
Mhm.
Particularly, I mean, playing you guys, which full disclosure, they beat us 2-0. But playing you guys in the Maryville has given us some solid tiebreakers because you both have gone on to play other teams, which is the secondary tiebreaker, is like how good your opponents are.
The tiebreaker system is
So
wild. Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So hopefully we don't fall down to the 7-3 group and have to worry about it. But I
Sure.
think like even if we did, provided that all of our opponents, you guys included, do well this upcoming weekend, we should be all right.
Well, I have some bad news for you about counting on the strength of us as a tiebreaker. We pulled Maryville this weekend.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
you
So that's
got
okay.
it.
We got it. We got it.
Got
We'll
it.
take him
Got it.
down. We got it. No, no. All good. All good. Fortunately, the strength of our tiebreakers is very good because we've had Northwood, Maryville, and Redbird. So we'll be okay. We'll be okay if we have to play that tiebreaker game. But that's okay. Cool. Cool. No, you guys have some good tiebreakers there. You've got a path to 8-2. I like what I see. So we have a question coming in from chat. Devious wants to know what you think about Lourdes
Oh my.
JV main tank.
All right. So the main tank, who just coincidentally enough has the same name as this guy in chat.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. No, by no means are they the same person. I think a lot of potential. He's in an unfortunate position where, for those of you who know the Lord's program, know that our captain of our team and the person who has been here the longest on our varsity Overwatch team is Majin K.
Sure.
A fan favorite of most, a very colorful character, if you will. So Divas has the unfortunate position of being the main tank and kind of being behind him, but I think he's in a really great position to be able to learn from Majin K, and kind of use that as he Devious, who's an incoming freshman for us, first semester on the team. Like there's still so much that he can learn and improve on. So I'm really excited to see how his growth does going forward. So Devious, if you know the other Devious, by chance there's I like Devious.
Nice, nice. So is Majin K as talkative, I'll just say, in scrims with other people as he is with Hirsch? Because Hirsch is our talkative fellow when it comes to devious goblin, or not devious, Majin K goblin, people like that. There's talkative people on each team, I find.
Yes, and he definitely is one of them. If we ever get to a scrim where there's somebody that he knows, whether from just personally or knows them for ranked or something, or from another amateur team, he is always, always, always chatting, which I love. Like he brings a very unique personality to our program. And I mean, I think he has helped kind of idealize what Lourdes Esports is. A very, very friendly bunch that when it gets time to like get down and grind it out, like we will make sure that we put in the work that we need to. But we make sure that we're at the same time we're not the types to take ourselves like too seriously, and we always like to have a little bit of fun wherever we're at. So I think
Sure.
he's a good benefit and good representation for us with that.
Nice, nice. So let's bring ourselves over to another interesting topic here. So obviously we do not get OPR account access in Collegiate. Sadly, they don't think we're that important over at Blizzard headquarters, which means if this experimental patch drops, we've just got to play on it. So what are your thoughts on this experimental patch? Have you checked out the patch notes? I've pulled them up here if you haven't, and we can talk them through. But are you liking those? Liking the direction? Do you think they help you, hurt you guys? Like, do you have a junk player, a Tor player, that sort of thing where you go, oh yeah, mouth is watering at it, or more of a ew, that's not so great?
Um, I'll say on and if I was saying this because it's on the JVN, we do have a junk player
Okay.
who it could be a huge benefit from us. Um, I thought I guess for Mr. Cole Cassidy here,
Oh yeah.
the combat role in the air was a little surprising to me. I mean just in general that was added. Um, I think me more than most people. I'm always the type to be like, it's experimental. Just remember, it's experimental. Don't worry about it. But I was a little shocked about that. But I don't know exactly how it's gonna play out. It has seemed to lead to a bit more of a brawly style with junk, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
And there have been times where we have wanted to run our, at least on the JVN, the Junkrat player into like a more brawly aspect. So if it went live, it could work out for us on that end. Um, all in all, I don't think it's going to change anything like fully drastically.
Sure.
I think people are going to be more likely maybe to use Torb now, especially like against Ball Tracer. You've already seen it used every now and then, but now people might think about it a little more often. But I don't think it's going to be like any vastly, crazy changes that will be happening.
Okay. And then how do you feel about that high noon? Is that going to be a challenge for people's reaction time? I mean, I don't know if you've scrimmed experimental. I don't know if I'm not necessarily going to say that, but do you feel like that's extreme? Do you feel like Cowboys, excuse me, do you feel like our new hero has already had their moment in the sun, or are you pretty good there?
So what? Remind me what the high noon change was again.
Sure. So, other than his flying combat role, he's also had initial slower damage ramping speed reduced from zero point 0.8 to zero point 0.5 seconds. So, the way his ult works is it sort of starts somewhat exponentially going up, and how it does damage exponentially isn't quite right, but it goes up faster and faster in terms of how much damage it adds over time there. You follow what I'm saying
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Cool.
So basically, they took down the amount of time for that damage to wrap up. I mean, I always like to tell everybody you should be playing your cover anyway, like
There you go.
any sets, and like if you have a solid ult tracker, which we do, especially on the varsity end with Hawk Waffle,
Okay.
then you're having that already in mind. Now, I think it might take some people a little bit time getting used to, and some people will get caught off guard. But one of the things I think is really cool about Overwatch, it challenges people to adapt quickly. That's
Sure.
just how the game naturally is. So I think that lends to people having that experience and adapting when it comes to like the meta in general. So I mean, I think it'd be a little bit of a benefit, but like I don't think that. I think he's already strong in itself. Um, so maybe he gets picked a little bit more, but I mean, he was already a really high frequent pick anyway. So
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Then we've got another question coming in from chat here saying, "I've got a question for the coach too. What sorts of exercises would you recommend players can do next to their desk to keep concentration levels high?" And my guess is this is like a in queue times type thing. I might recommend that they like get out of the queue and actually go exercise and then come back if their session gets too long. But there's something to this. I mean, we have to think about our tournament play where you can get 3 best of 5s in a row, things like this. Do you have anything that you'd recommend with your more sports background in terms of, hey, I think this is something good to do at the computer? Obviously, not 100% like a, exactly what you studied, but she's always curious about this. So I'll let you field this one instead of me this time.
I think wow, that's a really interesting question that I honestly never even kind of considered. But I think kind of what you said is especially like in the middle of queue times or something, like getting up and just kind of maybe looking away from the screen. I think a lot of times I can't remember what it's called, but you ever been on like a really long driving road trip, right? And
Hmm.
then you're driving, and then you're just like, wait, what was I doing for the past 15 minutes? And you knew you were driving, you just kind of like
Yes.
zoned out while you were doing it. I think that can also happen when you're at a computer screen for a while. Now Overwatch obviously keeps you engaged a lot, but I think whatever, especially like I think it's always good coming at something fresh to like keep that concentration
Sure.
levels high.
Beat the autopilot.
Versus,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Versus like, all right, I play game, cue back in, play game, cue back in, play game, cue back in. Maybe you decide, all right, I'm going to take a break. Maybe you decide you're going to look at your VOD from the last game and like come in with something fresh, different to concentrate on.
Hmm.
I always think it's good, whenever you're playing rank to have like a couple goals set in mind of like what you're gonna work on that day. So like if maybe you forgot to come in with goals that day, or you didn't even think about it, and then you leave and you come back in fresh with something new.
Sure.
I think that can also be a huge help. So you, by all means, if you want to kind of queue like games in a row, definitely. But if you need to keep that concentration a little bit high, like maybe stand up while your queue is still going, take a break, get some water, go stretch. One of those things I think would be a really good thing.
Okay. Okay. And what about Overwatch 2? How do you guys feel about your program heading into Overwatch 2? Obviously, the big change being 5 people. Do you feel like that maybe messes up some of your recruiting you'd sort of planned for what you expected the team to look like in the future? Does that align well with graduation times for people? Does that feel like a new exciting frontier for you guys? Or does that feel like, how do you feel? How does the team feel about that?
And the team will always say, if you ever ask them what's my favorite saying,
Yeah.
they'll always know it. And I've said it in particular about Overwatch 2 is like, we'll cross that bridge when we get there type of thing. I say that all the time with the team, and I've said it even here. Recruiting wise, like, it does make me take a little pause when it comes to like recruiting tank players and being like, well, now how many do I
We
actually
need
need?
half of them, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly, right? Or and I also kind of think like, we've heard rumors of other characters that normally were DPS players, DPS characters being moved over to tank. Is there
Sure.
going to be too many tank players that I'm going to still need two tank players regardless, and we're going to play different tanks each map? Should I approach it with that thought process? Like, I'm really interested to see how the pro scene does that. Whereas, like, what often are they doing like, oh hey, if we need to play a Zarya or a Diva this map, we're gonna have this tank player in versus if we need to play, because you see it all the time with DPS players.
Sure.
I'm curious to see if now with the tank pool widening but the roster size of the tank in the game shortening, if that leads to people being more specialized in their tank play and having to have that thought process of, all right, well maybe we'll still need 2 to 3 tanks on the roster because they're going to have to kind of specialize on a couple tanks here or there particularly.
Sure, no, it could. I mean, the concern is always your tanks, especially when you change your tanks, even more so than your DPS. It changes the whole style, the whole way we play the game. Whether we're walking out on a Zen Ball comp or a Brawl comp, like it really changes. It almost changes where you want some things to even live from a call perspective. So it just becomes such a big change that I could see the person swap making sense, but I do worry a little bit about, okay, well, now you guys can't play your Diva comp because your Zarya thing is there. And that's probably a bigger deal than, okay, you have two hit scan players, and yeah, maybe that means if you have to use your fairy, you'll be weak, but it feels like a bigger deal. So I'll be curious to see how that goes. Definitely.
Yeah. Hopefully we get a little bit of time to see how the pros handle it,
That's true.
before it
That's true.
kind of hits us down at the collegiate end.
They'll get to play in the beta. We probably mostly won't. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
get
yeah,
some eyeball time to see how things are
yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Okay. Um So then, as I look through here, what's on your mind? No, let's actually go here. What's been sort of the biggest challenge or the most exciting thing so far for your program this year? Maybe it's been a particularly challenging match that you guys overcame and won. Maybe it was some nice change that just came into effect this year that everyone's been really excited about. Like, what's been the most exciting or interesting thing for your program this year?
Um, Obviously, for those who might know our program or might have followed it, the support line we brought in was huge for us. My past 2 years with the program, like that was something I was always trying to improve on. It was like, hey, we needed a stronger support line. We need a stronger support line, and to be able this year to bring in CJ and Hawk Waffle,
Sure.
um, both who have played at really high levels. CJ particularly playing in contenders the past couple of seasons, has been huge for us, and that was exciting. Not only for that talent, but the fact that they're both freshmen, and to think about the future that they could be for the program. I don't even and it's not even just their in-game play, but just the mentality that they're approaching the year. They're learning a lot from our older members, particularly Majin K and Biz, and how Lourdes Esports is ran, what the mentality is for our program, and they're automatically kind of simulating into that. So I can see, once they become juniors and seniors, like the leadership potential those two have is going to be crazy. Just kind of how our year's gone. I mean, a huge splash that we made over at HughFest ended up beating Miami, which in a 3-0 when we had a sub that we had to bring, so we didn't have Hawk Waffle with us. We had
Sure.
a sub, but I think the team. One thing I love about this team, they always rise to the occasion when it's needed. We had a rough week a couple weeks ago where we lost to Waldorf, we lost to you guys, and we lost to Maryville.
I saw
Um,
that. Ugh,
yeah,
a
yeah,
tough week. Tough
it
on the
was a
mental.
it was a pretty tough week. But we righted the ship with our not test, but excuse me, Overwatch Collegiate matches last week. And then we're still rolling in our NACE group. And then hopefully to finish off strong here. But at least for just the future of the program, I think kind of what we brought in, and not even on the varsity side, but the JV side as well. We have one of our JV DPS players is on our varsity team because he just kind of played his way into it. There was,
Nice.
somebody had just been out for a really long time. He ended up being with the team for the first month, and I was like, "Look, man, you've kind of earned the spot." So, um, the our program is, in general, like I said, is one that we have a lot of fun, but when it gets time to work hard, we really really work hard, and so I'm excited to see what the future of the program comes and what these freshmen particularly learn from their upperclassmen as the upperclassmen get closer and closer to graduation, and how they take up that responsibility going forward.
Awesome. It's fantastic to see that path forward like that. It doesn't always work out exactly how we expect, of course, in terms of the reins of leadership passing. Sometimes people surprise you as time goes on, but it's definitely nice to see those people that you can sort of trust to be the future seniority in the team, the future general guide there to doing well and to carrying on your program and making it better and better each year. So that's fantastic to hear.
Yep.
Okay, well, I think we can mostly approach the end here, Pioneer. If you have any questions for me, any comments, or any topics that we haven't covered that are like super exciting or super interesting to you, by all means, I definitely want to hear about it. But those are sort of the main places I'd go here rather than drag on. So if you have questions or topics that I haven't brought up that you're like, this is important, please absolutely let me know, and I'll give you a moment to do so.
Yeah, so I mean, you asked us about our team, and maybe you've chatted, but I mean, so for those of you in the chat, we Lords and Northeastern were constant scrim partners.
Yeah.
Um, Love to kind of hear your same questions for your team, like what's kind of exciting you guys going forward. I mean, what you guys started off 5-1, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, what are you kind of looking at the future of your program, be it particularly the Overwatch team, and how are you seeing kind of the end coming up. Also, I know you guys are playing in the NACE CSL Star League,
Yep.
but also maybe with Overwatch Collegiate on the Blizzard. And what are you kind of seeing on both sides?
Sure. So the program looks good. The program definitely happy with where it's going. I've been really happy with the team's performance, especially over the last 3 weeks or so. You know how it is when you're working with a team where something sort of clicks and you're like, please stick, please stick. This clicked for you. I see how it clicked for you. Can you guys actually internalize this sort of thing? And they did a really good job with it. Some of those upgrades that we made really stuck with their mentals, and that's not always the case. So I've absolutely been thrilled to see it, and it's been allowing them to, very nicely challenge better and better opponents. And that's been fantastic to see. It really moved them up in terms of how we considered them, who we were playing against, that sort of thing. And Nace, they definitely had a challenging match in the Star League. We ran into, who was it? Ontario Tech, I believe it was, who were top 32 last season, and they just came at us with the weirdest comp. They had their ball comp that was a Mercy Brig ball comp, and it's a match, so I can't talk to my team in the middle of the match unless we're between
Yeah,
maps or
yeah.
something like that. And they're just struggling with this ball soldier Mercy Brig comp, and it's just like,
Wow.
oh, like that is such a weird comp. Like, what did you? And I know how to solve the comp, of course, but I'm sitting there. It's like, guys, come
Yeah,
on, solve
yeah,
it, solve
yeah.
it. But they did manage to dig deep and turn that one around with the reverse sweep. And that would have been a painful loss, but that was sort of the beginning of their journey to going, hey, wait, we can do this season. We're good this season. We're not going to go down without a fight. And it's really shown through. So it was really nice to see them keep problem solving, keep getting to that answer there, and then eventually find that way through. And I'm excited for the future of our program.
Awesome. Awesome. Great to hear. I think we had another question in the chat.
Oh. For both coaches, what was your biggest goal for the team coming into this year, and how close do you think you are to that goal? Uh, would you like to talk that one first, or shall I?
I can chat with it real
Have at
quick.
it.
So at least for us, particularly with bringing in the support line we did, our thought was, I like to give us like measurable goals,
Sure.
um, to kind of reach toward. Now it gets a little bit tricky because a lot of times like the tournaments aren't out yet at the beginning of the season, so you kind of have to wait a little bit before you like talk about what you want the goals to be.
Right.
I know for us, our goal was we knew Nace was going to do the same type of grouping.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal was to win our group and then to make top 8 for Nace, and then
Sure.
on the kind of the Overwatch Collegiate side was to reach top 16 on that end as well. So both kind of aspirational goals, but our team last semester and this year have like the team's constantly, I guess, quote unquote overperforming versus like if you looked at what SR was at the time, where kind of what level we play at.
Sure.
And I think again that's a huge level to our leaders on the team, and just uh, Jimmy in particular, Biz, who played EU contenders this past year, shout out to him for making it in. But just the level of knowledge that they're able to give out to the rest of the team, but also just kind of the leadership that they're able to do, the faith that they instill in their teammates and
Mm-hmm.
themselves, and then the teammates within each other. So that's kind of like the goals that we had set. Right now, winning our group, we'll have to wait till playoffs.
You guys are going to have
Waldorf
to take
is
down
in our group.
Waldorf, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, yeah. So we're gonna hopefully look to a rematch with Waldorf
Okay.
to be able to make it in that. And then obviously still want to make top 32. Which if we finish out 8-2, we'll definitely be in for Overwatch Collegiate, and then seeing how the groups pan out from there.
Yeah, and once we're at group stage, anything can happen. I mean,
Yeah.
then we get into that. Nice, nice. I believe it's top 2 from each group. So
Mm-hmm.
cool. I like it. I like it.
And
Those are
what
some
about you
good
guys?
goals. When it comes to us for goals, we definitely had a desire to increase where we finished. I mean, we finished top 16 last season, and we looked at that and went, hey, yes, we graduated graduated our captain last year. We lost our flex support. We brought in someone who was maybe a little less flexible in Spectro. Spectro's fantastic. You will bring out some amazing sniper play, but bringing out some amazing sniper play isn't necessarily what you're looking for from your flex support player, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it was like, okay, well, maybe we need to work on some of your other heroes a little bit. Where it's like the Mercy's great, also not really a flex support hero. So we had to do some work to work on some of, the Baptistes, things like that, to fit into the old way of playing, because last season would have been a more brawl heavy season for us, as well as moving into what some of the new stuff is. So we definitely wanted to continue to climb where we could find the team there where we expected to finish the season, that sort of thing. And regardless of the bad luck that Homecoming has pulled us in terms of our opponents, we've definitely seen the level up there. I don't know if we'd quite make top 8 yet, but we're looking at that and we're going, hey, top 16. We can't really calculate more than every half round like that, etc. But we're looking happy in the top 16 here, and we're looking like a good school. So we've mostly are looking in a place where our goals look pretty good. And then obviously we've taken down the threats that we had in our group in Star League, but of course playoffs will be something else entirely. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Um. Okay. Okay. So I think that does it. Do you have any final thoughts here, Pioneer? If not, it's been, well, you know what? I'm not going to shoot you off here. Any final thoughts here?
No, I did have all right. One final question,
Okay.
real quick.
Have at it.
So looking at Overwatch Collegiate, surprise team you think will make top 8 that people aren't thinking about?
Surprise team that'll make top 8. That's a great question. Let me look at my power rankings, because that's something that, of course, I have. Oh, my power rankings just got shown to the world. That's okay. Okay, so if I look at this, the one that I think would be the surprise for making it, I mean, it's a little tough if I had to sort of like just think out loud about my thoughts. I mean, obviously Dallas is much stronger than last year, but I don't think that really surprised anyone. We saw their roster
Yeah.
early and we knew that would be the case.
Yeah.
And then we've really got the top 6, I'd say, are pretty locked in. So if we get into top 8 outside of that, the usual choices would be, or the smart money would be on Irvine, Utah, Bellevue, schools like that in previous semesters. Um, but I think like the dark horse money would be on more of a Miami, Ohio. That team is just so much able to go when they feel like being good. They play at a significantly higher level than they do some other times. I find that team is a little wild. So if they want it, I would say that would be the no. They can go be top 8 if they want, and that's probably who I'd pick there. Obviously, Waldorf, new program this year. They played well. We'll see if they're able to keep the gas there and really keep their way through there. But if I was picking something that was a surprise without being too far out there, it would probably be Miami, Ohio.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Or I'll give mine, and you kind of Miami was gonna be mine, but I was just
Okay.
like, would it be too much of a surprise? I was like, yeah, no, like I think it's VC. I will go with I'm gonna slide this one in here. Ohio State.
Okay.
I think they played very, very well last year,
Sure.
and I think they've just kind of added at least one more tool this year, especially in their main tank with Lava,
Yep.
who um, know pretty well personally. I think that's just kind of a huge pickup for them. I think they're sitting pretty good. I big performance fan right here as well.
Sure.
Shout out to them. And I just I got to meet some of them while I was at Hugh Fest a little bit.
Hmm.
And I think I'm trying to go a little bit into the pocket as far as Dark Horse, and I think
Sure.
like if it's like someone that, and I'm thinking of like your power rankings that wasn't on that top 2 groups that you would think of, and mine, I'm gonna go with Ohio State.
Okay. Okay. It makes sense to me. I can see it. I might be going a little too much like you're sounding a bit like a homer here. You're going with the teams that are around you, that sort of thing.
Just a
I'm
little,
kidding. I'm kidding. You're fine. You're fine.
just a little bit, a little bit. Ohio born and raised, so I have a little bias toward our state and the amazing programs that we have here right now. Like even particularly with the Overwatch side with Ohio State, Miami, Akron, us. Ashland. Like it's Overwatch in Ohio is pretty stacked, and so I root whenever we're not playing them. I like to give them a little bit of root.
Cool, cool. You know what? That actually totally randomly brings me to another thing. So we've talked a lot about Overwatch here, but are you guys doing anything else in the esports scene? Are you guys expanding one sport at a time? Does Overwatch feel like it? What are you guys doing there outside of Overwatch? What do you have plans for the future?
So we compete in League of Legends and Rocket League additionally,
Hmm.
and then some more individual titles with Super Smash Brothers, Fortnite, and Hearthstone.
Okay.
Um, One of the coolest developments for us is that our traditional athletics conference, the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference,
Sure.
has now added the support of esports this year.
Ah,
So this first semester we were competing, doing a whole Rocket League season. And then next semester will be League of Legends and Overwatch. So we are playing in like we had been doing a esport specific conference with some other schools about our size in Ohio and Indiana. But it's really big for not only just the kind of growth of the scene, but also the growth and support of our program here at Lourdes for teams to be able to see, oh hey, the esports team's playing the same team that we play in soccer or we play in basketball, and to like kind of see the growth and success we're having on that end as well.
sure.
Um, like as big as it is for us to like beat some of the other teams that are like a little well known as far as like D1 schools and stuff,
Hmm.
it is almost sometimes just as big when it's just like, hey, we're beating that one school in the conference that wins every single other sport, right?
It
And
is.
stuff
It is
like that,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
Oh
To be
yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's huge for us. I think it's going to be, just even, stronger for the growth of our program here. Because even with recruiting, that's going to be an effect where, like, hey, we're in Ohio, Michigan, all the other schools in our conference are Ohio, Michigan. We
Sure.
can be like, hey, we play these same schools and look, how successful we may or may not have been. That can be a huge help for us as well. So that's one of the coolest developments for us this year. And it's been really cool to kind of see how that has been going forward and developing.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, always fun to see that develop, and also always fun to challenge the schools in different sports, especially if maybe they're a struggle in the other ones there. Like,
Yeah,
we'll get you
yeah,
back
yeah,
in
yeah,
Overwatch, we'll get you back in League. Hey, we'll take
yeah,
it. We'll
yeah,
take it.
yeah,
I
exactly,
like it.
exactly,
Cool.
exactly.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up there, but it's been
Yeah,
great to have you on here, Pioneer. Hopefully,
thank
we
you
can
so
do
much.
this sometime again in the future, but for now, we'll go ahead and call it. And yeah, it's been great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pioneer,
Appreciate it.